Hi, this is McGarvelcuddy. I've got something to show you. Basically, something new called LitElement. It's basically, well, it's self-defined as a simple base class for creating fast, lightweight web components. I stole that right off their front page, where they define themselves in a sentence. But it's really it's like easy to use these web components, at least for me, in comparison to just like what I already know. It's sort of it's very useful for somebody who is not so experienced in JavaScript, creating any sort of interaction or just using it to improve a web page. I don't have that many experiences doing that, and it's very useful. You can just use it anywhere you use HTML. You can just basically inject it into anything that you would ever want to for web design. So I've got these different sections of their sort of tutorial, but I just want to go through and show what sort of makes them unique, like what they're getting at realistically. So in the create section that we're in, we start out with just creating this our element, the my element here, defined as my element, and it creates this hello world from my element section here by rendering it with this return HTML. So it basically puts that in from the JavaScript, and I've got our HTML here where we grab that, where we've got the JavaScript coming in and putting that in directly. And it's all it needs to do is have my element here, just that little tag, and we can go ahead and copy that, paste it in, and it will come up with another one. So it's scalable for sure, which is nice. But yeah, the to-do implement my element part is just regular paragraph text from the HTML itself, but the hello world is HTML that we are injecting from here. So then we go into properties, which is just a sort of more for it's a step more for future steps, just to increase the complexity that we can achieve. So we've got properties here now where we have our return message. We have it as a string specifically, and that'll become a little more important later on, but it just basically does the same thing. We've got our constructor as well, which with the properties to just instantiate the value, and then we use a good old this dot message for that inside of this class. So it's starting to look like like regular Java almost, to my eyes. So yeah, that's not a bad thing, at least for me. But yeah, we just create a class sort of like that, and then it renders in the same way with our my element here in the HTML again, and it comes up with another one as per usual. But now we've got other stuff. We've got other types of properties. So we've got a Boolean and we've got an array, and here in our constructor we set the Boolean automatically to true, and the array, we create the array with its elements, its 5 elements, and then when we render this all, we use the same this, but with the array we use it so that we are creating the bullet points as we go down. And with the Boolean, it simply takes, if the Boolean is actually true, then we will render this HTML where it's if it's true, render some HTML if my Boolean is true, and if the Boolean was false, it will render this other HTML if false due to that the colon there for that. So I'm going to set it back to true, and we will be able to see in our HTML here that we can just again recreate this again exactly the same, and if you change the true to false, this will be false for all of them. They will both return a false here, so that's nice. And then for our next one, excuse me, we've got our events. So basically, we're adding a button, same stuff as before, but this time the Boolean can actually be changed. So that way, it will change the value of the Boolean based on us clicking this button. So right now it's true, and then when we click it, it becomes false. Click it again, it becomes true. So basically the same thing, but then we've got the click handler, which is inside of this button, calls this, where it just takes that, and if it's clicked, then my Boolean will become this dot my Boolean will become the opposite of itself, like the inverse operator of itself, and it's assigned to itself. So just inverts its value, and just like always, this is all coming out of this my element. And I didn't actually test this, but I am sure it should work. But when you click, oh, all right, yeah, that is actually more convenient. So they are independent objects, so they will have their values change independently of each other. They're not changing it. If I click one, they're not all changing. So that is actually more convenient. And so finally we've got their styles, and this paragraph here is we call them the CSS. Grab these colors, red and blue, and then when we come down here to our renderer, then we've got the styled paragraph, and it checks the Boolean to see, hey, is this true? And it starts out true, so it starts out red. Once it becomes false, it will be blue. And we've got our button here that changes the value of true or false in the Boolean. So we click it, and it will change color based on the value. So you can just change that. So you can affect elements and how they're displayed through this as well. Same stuff, the click handler. And let's just open up our HTML, pop in a second one, and we've got a true and a false, red and blue. So yeah, LitElement's definitely useful for just web components. It's just really great for interactivity, as we saw here. It's really opened my eyes to just what you can do, like on a very simple scale, very quickly with JavaScript to improve your HTML and your page that you're creating. And yeah, it's a great interactive code tool that you can use here at LitElement. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like LitElement, and I'm definitely going to use it in my code from here on out. Thanks.